You didn't ruin it. You didn't burn the bridge. You didn't run because you're weak. You ran because once upon a time, staying almost killed you. You learned that silence kept you safe. You learned that shrinking kept you loved. You learned that leaving early was better than being left behind.
You just need to
They call it
respond to what's
sabotage.
actually here.
But what if it was
Think
just
about
your
it.
nervous system keeping the receipts?
When you walk into a room,
What if
you
your
need to
trauma
understand the
remembered what
entire
your mind tried
architectural
to
history
forget?
of the building before you sit
You see,
down.
protection doesn't always look brave.
Number. You
Sometimes it
just
looks
check
like
if the chair is
ghosting.
there.
Sometimes
You
it
sit,
looks like cancelling
and that's
plans
enough.
last minute.
Life is
Sometimes
more
it
like
looks
that
like
chair than
success making you feel sick. You think you're breaking down. But really, you're breaking free from a system that kept you small. Your body never forgot the moment love turned into danger. Your mind just learned how to label it normal. So when safety arrived, you didn't know how to hold it. You thought the peace was fake, because all you ever knew was survival. It's not that you're afraid of love. You're afraid of what happens after. After you trust, after you open, after they see you. That's where the pattern lives, isn't it? That's when the abandonment hit last time. That's when the shame came. That's when you learned that love isn't safe. So you pull away, quietly, before they can. Because losing something on your own terms hurts less than being caught off guard. This wasn't sabotage. This was strategy. You built this defense system out of necessity, piece by piece, pain by pain, and while others saw a wall, you knew it was armor. Armor that kept you breathing. Armor that kept you alive when love turned into manipulation. They called you cold, distant, dramatic, but you were building a home inside your own skin because you had to. Because no one else was going to make it safe. You didn't fail the relationship. You felt it shift. You felt their tone change. You noticed when your boundaries became a burden. You saw the flicker in their eyes, where warmth used to live. So you left. Not because you didn't love them, but because you finally loved yourself. Sabotage. No. That was the first honest thing you'd done in years. You've been taught to call your exit wounds a character flaw, to label your instincts as overreactions, to call your caution drama. But here's what they don't see. The girl who learned to read the room like scripture. The boy who memorized every tone change to avoid a storm. The grown adult still flinching at raised voices. This isn't weakness. This is your survival intelligence, and it runs deeper than logic. Go back far enough, and you'll find the origin. Maybe it was a slammed door, or a night you cried alone, or a smile you had to force so the room stayed calm. Your sabotage started there. In the quiet decision, I'll never let this happen again. And from that seed, 1,000 decisions grew. Not mistakes, not weakness, but defense. Unconscious protection disguised as bad timing, failed plans, and missed connections. You protect in silence, and then punish yourself for being distant. You walk away from pain, then label yourself the villain. You say yes when you mean no, then resent yourself for being fake. But that's not failure. That's adaptation. You became what the room needed, because the room never cared who you were. Here's the paradox. Healing will look like sabotage too, because to those who loved your compliance, boundaries will feel like betrayal. To those who benefited from your silence, and your voice will sound violent. To the part of you that learned chaos as love, peace will feel boring. But you're not sabotaging now either. You're evolving. You're choosing a life that feels unfamiliar, because it's finally honest. You didn't self-sabotage. You self-protected. You left before you disappeared. You guarded what was sacred when no one else would. You said no before they could steal your yes. Forgive yourself for surviving the only way you knew how. And now you get to protect yourself with presence, not panic, with boundaries, not walls. Now you get to write a new pattern, not because you were broken, but because you were brilliant, because every scar was a strategy, every exit was a form of prayer, and the real you was never lost, just armored, waiting. And now, you remember, and you return.